Sung was an excellent educator. She was the first president of KWAC and served for 7 years. She felt that she represented Korean immigrant women and passionately sought to protect their image. On January 17, 1982, Mike Royko, a columnist for the Sun-Times, wrote a controversial article that offended much of the Korean community.
I'm not sure how to describe Korean women, but I'll try. If you've ever seen Reverend Moon, the cult leader, then you know what an average Korean man looks like. Short, stocky, with chunky arms and legs, and a perpetual scowl. Just put a wig on Reverend Moon and you have your average Korean woman.
Sung was incensed at Royko's article. Using her leadership skills and kill them with kindness philosophy, Sung invited Royko to lunch at the swanky 95th restaurant atop the John Hancock building.
The Korean Women's Association decided that this was just not right to have Mike Royko sort of say something demeaning about Korean women. And so what they did in response, rather than to rally and say that this was wrong, they decided to bring him in to have lunch with him to show them not only what the value of the Korean culture and community, but how wrong he was by taking him out, having really great interactions with him.
On February 21, 2008, Sung obtained a retraction article in the Sun-Times from Royko.
So she was really the queen of networking, and she never let that network fall apart. The other thing she was able to do is work seamlessly with all communities, African American communities, and that was a community that she worked very, very closely with. And growing up, most of her non-Asian friends were African American, and she coalition built with sort of other populations that were minorities very well.
In addition to her work with education and women, Sung became the first female vice president of the Korean American Association of Chicago. After her many years of academia in Pennsylvania, Charlotte and her daughter Claudia, from a previous marriage, moved to Chicago to be with her husband Ben, and there began her long career in the Chicago Public Library system. In 1990, she rose up and became the Assistant Commissioner of Neighborhood Libraries of the Chicago Public Library, then the highest-ranking Asian American in the system. Her boss, Mary Dempsey, remembers Charlotte as a tireless public servant who believed in and loved the library as a means to serve the community.
She understood how important a library was, especially in an urban environment. But I think what also motivated her was she was an educated woman, and she was an immigrant, and she was from the Asian culture, and so she felt this great responsibility as a role model, not only to Asian women, but to all women, to always be prepared, to always be impeccable in your dress and in your speech, and to always be gracious and smiling.
In 2003, Charlotte also received the prestigious Kathy Osterman Award for Outstanding Supervisory Employee by the City of Chicago.
She was the bright star, and she made that apparent very, very quickly. To go from branch manager and 4 years later to be a district chief, and then shortly after that to become assistant commissioner, that says a lot about who she was.
Charlotte devoted much of her time to community programs, always stressing the importance of volunteering. She served on many boards and was one of the founders of the Chicago Korean YWCA. She also served as the first president of the Midwest chapter of KOAN, the Korean Women's International Network.